What if I told you that the world's biggest economic collapses don't reduce debt? They create more of it. Recessions destroy jobs. Crashes wipe out wealth. Entire economies grind to a halt. So logically, debt should shrink, right? But history shows the opposite. After the Great Depression, debt exploded. After the 2008 financial crisis, global debt skyrocketed. After COVID shut down the world, debt hit levels never seen before. Here's the mystery. Why does global debt grow faster when economies are weakest? Who keeps borrowing? Who keeps lending? And why does this cycle never seem to end? Tonight, we're going to peel back the layers, not with slogans or conspiracies, but with cause and effect history that most people are never taught. And by the end, you'll understand why the next crisis may already be mathematically unavoidable. Before we go back in time, we need to clarify one thing. Debt is not just money owed. Debt is a promise about the future. Every loan assumes 1, future growth, 2, future productivity, 3, future stability. When a country borrows, it's betting that tomorrow will be bigger than today. But what happens when tomorrow collapses? To answer that, we need to go back to the origins of modern debt. Part 1. Origins debt as a tool, not a problem. In the early 20th century, government debt was limited and cautious. Countries borrowed mainly for 1. Wars, 2. Infrastructure, 3. Emergencies, budgets mattered. Gold-backed currencies. And debt was seen as dangerous if it grew too large. Then came 1929. The Great Depression shattered the old rules. As businesses failed and unemployment soared, governments faced a terrifying choice. 1. Cut spending and worsen collapse. 2. Or borrow massively to keep society alive. For the first time at scale, governments chose deficit spending, borrowing during bad times to stabilize the economy. This wasn't greed. It was survival. And it worked. Temporarily. But something fundamental changed. Debt was no longer an emergency tool. It became an asterisk permanent feature asterisk of economic management. The rise. Debt becomes the engine after World War II. Debt didn't disappear. It was normalized. The Bretton Woods system tied currencies to the dollar and the dollar to gold. Governments borrowed confidently, believing growth would always outpace debt. And for decades, it did. 1. Populations grew 2. Productivity soared 3. Manufacturing expanded 4. Global trade exploded. Debt looked harmless because the economy grew faster than what was owed. But this golden age hit a dangerous assumption. Growth would never slow down. By the 1970s, that assumption broke. Inflation surged. Growth stalled. Gold backing collapsed. Money became fiat, created by policy, not metal. From that moment on, debt no longer needed hard limits. And once limits disappear, incentives change. The breaking point when debt replaces growth. Fast forward to the late 20th century. Economic growth begins to slow. 1. Aging populations, 2. Saturated markets, 3. Rising inequality. But governments still need 1. Jobs, 2. Stability, 3. Political support. So instead of fixing structural problems, they borrow. Debt fills the gap left by missing growth. This is the critical shift. Debt stops supporting the economy and starts replacing it. Then comes 2008. The global financial system nearly collapses. Banks fail, credit freezes, housing markets implode. And once again, governments face the same choice. 1. Let the system collapse. 2. Or borrow at unprecedented levels to save it. They choose borrowing. Trillions are created. Interest rates are slashed to near zero. Central banks step in as lenders of last resort. The crisis ends. But the debt never does. The fallout. Why debt explodes during collapse. Here's the key insight most people miss. Economic collapses destroy private spending, so public debt expands to replace it. When economies crash, 1. Tax revenues fall. 2. Social spending rises. 3. Businesses stop investing. 4. Consumers stop buying if governments don't borrow. Demand collapses completely. So they borrow. 2. 1. Pay salaries. 2. Fund stimulus. 3. Bail out institutions. 4. Prevent mass unrest. Debt grows not because things are good, but because things are breaking. And once debt reaches a certain level, it becomes politically impossible to reverse. Cutting debt means 1. Cutting services, 2. Raising taxes, 3. Accepting pain. No government wants to be the one that does that. Part 5. Failed fixes: printing, postponing, pretending over time. Policymakers turn to 3 main strategies. 1. Lower interest rates make debt cheaper to maintain. But eventually rates hit 0, and 0 is a wall. 2. Print money: central banks buy government debt to keep the system liquid. This delays collapse, but inflates asset prices and widens inequality. 3. Kick the can. Refinance old debt with new debt. This is where the system quietly breaks. Debt no longer shrinks, it only rolls forward. Each fix avoids collapse today by increasing risk tomorrow. Modern parallels. The pattern repeats today. Global debt is higher than ever. 1. Governments owe more than their entire economies produce. 2. Corporations survive on cheap credit. 3. Households rely on borrowing for basic living. And every crisis follows the same script. 1. Shock, 2. Stimulus, 3. Debt surge, 4. Temporary recovery, 5. Greater fragility. COVID was the largest example yet. Economies shut down, but debt exploded upward. Why? Because the system cannot survive without borrowing anymore. Debt has become structural. Why debt never comes down? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Modern economies are debt dependent. If debt shrinks, 1. Growth stalls, 2. Markets fall, 3. Political stability weakens. So debt is maintained not because it's safe, but because the alternative is immediate pain. This creates a paradox. The longer debt is postponed, the bigger the eventual adjustment. And history shows those adjustments come in only a few forms. 1. Inflation, 2. Currency devaluation, 3. Financial repression, 4. Or systemic crisis. Final takeaways: what this means. Takeaway number 1. Debt grows fastest when economies are weakest because borrowing replaces collapsed demand. Takeaway number 2. Crises don't reset the system. They entrench it deeper. Takeaway number 3. The problem isn't debt itself. It's debt without growth. The world has survived every debt crisis so far by expanding the system. But there is a question no central bank can answer. What happens when expansion stops working? History suggests the answer is never gentle. If this video helped you see global debt differently, hit like. It tells the algorithm this content matters. Subscribe if you want more deep, history-based breakdowns of money, power, and economic systems they don't teach in school. And comment below. Do you think the next crisis will reset the system or push debt even higher? Because if history is any guide, we already know the pattern.